Women who dated older men as teenagers that now realize they were predators. What's your story? I was 15 and definitely didn't understand a thing about love or danger. I found out that he was married and had a child because he literally disappeared, and I was trying to find out what happened. I'll put my experience in here while I'm at it. I was 14. He was 21 and I thought it was cool that he had a car and could buy alcohol. Luckily I didn't interact with this person for more than a few months. I was 11 and he was 23. We didn't date, he had a girlfriend, but he would sext me and send me nudes. Eventually I realized it was strange and blocked him. Didn't tell anyone about it. I sometimes wonder if it's impacted me more than I would care to admit. He was my guidance counselor. I didn't realize how creepy he was until he proposed. The whole thing was fucked. I was 15 and met a 30-year-old who was an older brother of a boy I met in group therapy. He used to tell me how complicated and mature I was. LOL, so cliche. I'm now 24 and seeing or interacting with anyone who is 15 makes me sick. I felt so old then, but it's insane now how obvious to me that people that age are children. I feel the same way. I'm in shock whenever I see a 16-year-old because they're just so young. I'm 32 now. Same age as the man that took advantage of me. I was 16. A school teacher of 30 years used to touch me and text me stuff. I didn't really realize it was bad until some years later when he married a girl from my class. I didn't tell anyone because I was scared that people would think that it was my fault. That exact experience, except he had sex with me 2 days after I reached the age of consent in my state. I eventually got him fired. Mom reported him when I was suicidal and everyone in the school turned against me because he was the most popular teachers. It was terrible. I'm sorry that you had to go through that, and I hope it doesn't affect your life too much now. My cousin in GA got with a guy when she was around 13 and he was around 26. She had 3 kids with him. He slept around with anyone who was willing, including his first cousin, her mom, my aunt, and her sister. He took advantage of her and fucked her self-esteem so much that she always takes him back. Her 3 kids now all have kids too. She is raising most of her grandkids. I feel sorry for all of them. Some parts of Georgia are like a third world country. From a small town in Georgia. Can confirm. I was 13 and my parents had a friend who was 24 that started hanging around the house a lot. I developed a big crush on him and ended up losing my virginity to him. I thought we were in love and going to get married. My parents found out and I never saw him again. Didn't realize how creepy it was until I had my own kids. All I can say is that I am floored by how many horrible tales of abuse are in this thread. All the same story each time. I dated an older woman when I was a teen. She was in her mid-20s. I was still a minor. When we broke up, she told me she'd been stopping her friends from coming after me. But now she wasn't going to stop them anymore. She proceeded to make my life hell. And even faked her own death to make me look bad. She stalked me online for a while after that. I don't know if she still is. But I can't deny the possibility. I don't feel safe. Don't know if I ever will. My best friend in high school dated a teacher and the school found out somehow. I don't know if she thinks of it like this though. I for sure do. LOL, I was friends with a girl in high school that married a teacher as soon as we graduated. As far as I know, nobody cared. He also left his wife and newborn to be with her. Zero consequences. I'm 18. He's 31. I was supposed to meet him tomorrow. My country has finished quarantine. I told him I didn't feel comfortable sleeping with him, or even hooking up in any way. He pressed me on it further, and I admitted I was on my period and was uncomfortable. He told me that he didn't want to be around anybody who put up any barriers. He didn't want me to feel comfortable setting boundaries. Blocked his ass real fast. As an adult, I realized my dad's girlfriend was 16 when they met. He was 27 with kids. He left my mom and us for her. He was her prom date. I was 6 years old. I did not realize she was also a kid. I don't speak to him anymore. When I was 23, I managed a Chipotle that was near a high school, and without trying to sound like I'm bragging or virtue signaling, I could have had all the 14-15-16-year-old girls I could handle. But I knew better, so I was pretty terrified of them. Society should stop having that belief that teenagers are incapable of reaching fully informed independent decisions on their sexual and romantic choices and actions. You people need to own shit instead of constantly placing the blame on someone else. A friend of mine started dating a 22-year-old when we were only in 8th grade. He physically, psychologically, and sexually abused her for 2 years. I didn't find any of this out until after she tried to kill herself in our sophomore year. Her parents shipped her off to a mental hospital out of state, and I never saw her again. That was 8 years ago, and I don't even know if she's alive today. I dated a 28-year-old when I was 16. He was a teacher. Not at my school, but at another high school in the area where I lived. Didn't put 2 and 2 together until I was about 20. Thinking about it now, being 25, my skin crawls. Please dox all these old guys on 8chan. Make them suffer. 43M here. Everyone under 30 is a child to me now. At 25, everyone under 20 was too young. Thought he was cool. He was my best friend's older brother. Fooled around with him when I was 15, he was 29. A year later we were drinking, and when we got to his place he said, "We're having sex or you can't stay here." Lost my virginity that night. All kind of hit me the next day how fucked up that all was. Blocked him the next day and have only seen him once since. I hate to even put it down in words, but this thread just reminded me of something from 17 years ago when I was 16. My friend introduced me to her boyfriend's friend who was 22 and a firefighter. We all drank and then he and I had sex. I just got the chills being reminded that that happened. Yuck. Sad how many posts there are. I am honestly too afraid to post mine. Hope everyone here has found some peace amongst the guilt and shame. Summer after 7th grade, I had a guy who just graduated high school start hitting on me. I grew up in a tight-knit church community where this was widely viewed as okay, but thankfully my dad had enough sense to know that it wasn't. The issue I ran into was saying no. When you grow up so sheltered, it's hard to grasp how to handle a situation so young. I feel a little bit like I led him on, because he bothered me continuously until my junior year when I finally snapped at him about it. But then I remind myself that I shouldn't have needed to be the adult in that situation. I don't entirely blame him either though, because it was viewed as so acceptable he wouldn't have known much better. My girlfriend and I used to find them all the time down at the lake. And we got real savvy real fast. So we devised a strategy of whichever one the creep was interested in would be super flirty hard, and the other one of us would get the wallet and throw it as far and as hard into the water as we could, and then giggled because what are they going to do, call the cops for perving on teenagers? I was 13 and he was 32. Me and my friends used to sneak into the local yacht club. And that's where I met him. Everyone else thought it was creepy and wrong and that I should call the cops. But I thought I was so cool and I loved the attention he gave me. I thought I was living a Lana Del Rey song. It only stopped when I moved a few months later. I was 16 and he was 21. Ex-Air Force and had a massive CNC. You don't know what a CNC kink is? It's basically a consensual RPE fetish. I realized after we got in a fight that he wanted to take full control over me and for me to be his pet, which is what I think a lot of predators want from a younger S/O, so I ended it after a few months. After I found out that he was discharged after only a year for hiding his bipolar disorder diagnosis. I was 19 dating a 34-year-old. I realized when I asked him to leave my flat after an argument and he refused, making it very clear that he could physically overpower me if he so wished and that I didn't have much hope of defending myself. Luckily my housemates backed me up and he left, but it almost got very ugly.